In this video, we show how to change a configuration file in order to customize a CRTS experiment. We will need to log into a CoreNet node. Here, we have chosen the node 7027. We can look at the floor plan using CoreNet 3D. Hovering the mouse over a particular node, we can see its node port number and IP address. CRTS uses the node's IP address to select which radios to use. We will modify a pre-configured scenario file in order to choose a pair of radios we'd like to use, and also make simple modifications to the radios involved in the experiment. We need to move into the CRTS root folder. Next, we will edit the configuration file located in the example scenarios directory. We will use the basic two-node scenario in our example. The directory where the configuration file is located is shown here, assuming you are in the CRTS root directory. The scenario creates the most basic two-node network. No actual cognitive, adaptive behavior is defined in this scenario. It is intended as the most basic example for a user to become familiar with CRTS. Under general scenario parameters, we can see we need 2 radio nodes in the scenario. The scenario will run for 20 seconds. The configuration file allows us to change parameters of the radio nodes as needed. For example, when selecting which radios to use, we can use the node IP address associated with the node. The default scenario file is using IP addresses 192.168.1.11 and 192.168.1.12. We will change these to select a different pair of radios. Let's select nodes 7028 and 7029, whose IP addresses are shown by hovering the mouse over the nodes. We have selected the radios we wish to use by changing their IP address. There are other settings and options that can be customized in the configuration file. For instance, the transmit and receive gain of the radios is configurable. Receiving and transmitting frequency is also configurable. We will leave these fields as they are and run the experiment once. In this particular text editor, we need to type Ctrl-X simultaneously to exit the text editor, typing Y to save the edits, and finally hitting the Enter key. It's possible to observe the spectrum using the CoreNet 3D application. We need to select a node that is nearby the transmitting radios, and we cannot select the radio nodes we are using. Click on the desired node to show the spectrum. Let's use an appropriate center frequency based on the transmit frequencies of our 2 radios. 860 MHz will do here. Type in the frequency and hit Enter. We are now ready to start the radios. Just type /CRTS controller from CRTS root directory and the radios will start automatically. We can observe the radios transmitting using CoreNet 3D. We can return to the terminal and see that Node 1 and Node 2 have ended transmitting. Let us now proceed to make more changes to the configuration file. We can change the transmit and receive gain as shown here. Run CRTS controller to start the experiment once again. We can observe the radios transmitting at a lower gain indicated here by the color of the spectrum. This ends the video on how to change a configuration file in order to customize a CRTS experiment.